You can actually collect the seeds of it if one wanted. I'm not interested though. Oh, it's actually got flowers, huh? Did you see? Did you see it? So I've just kind of come back into the area where they're selling their plants. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a look around, see what they have, and yeah, let's go exploring.
So my whole thing really was for gardens in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was doing, you know, we had a steel company that made all those big sheds. And
Oh, okay.
so I used to go behind and do all the landscaping.
Yeah.
And then I got a lot of collectors wanting all these things.
If people are looking for things for their garden, this is a fairly good nursery to come to. They've a range of materials with, you know, succulents, herbaceous perennials, shrubs. You know, you could outfit your garden quite nicely with the material in here, and just hopefully kind of get an idea as to what could be grown here in Zambia, including some of the weird and wonderful. So I've just had a bit of a walk around in the back part of the nursery. Kind of some lovely plants for shrub garden, herbaceous borders, things along those kinds of lines. And came across this interesting Aristolochia plant. We always have these weird and wonderful flowers that we can see right here. So this is actually a plant that would, it mimics dead things in order to get the pollinators to come in. So I'm not going to force that. I'm just going to pick this one here. So you see how hairy it is along the top here and in here. So that's to mimic kind of like the hairs on an animal, or and encourage the flies to travel down and get into the bottom here. And it's probably going to smell kind of bad. Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of a carrion smell. The smell of rotting meat, so it will attract the flies to come down. Ideally, that fly has already visited another flower and got pollen on it, so in the process it will pollinate this flower, but those hairs are downwards pointing, so the fly can't come back out of this flower until maybe about 24 hours has passed, and then those hairs relax and start to become less turgid, so they stop being a barrier to the fly emerging, and in that time then the pollen inside the flower will have matured, coated the fly with that plant's pollen, and the new fly emerging will then travel to another flower to pollinate it. Very interesting flower systems for pollination, but yeah, look at that. Stunning. Take a whiff of it. I think a nice aspect of this back nursery area is that she doesn't have it under shade cloth. Instead, you have the natural kind of developing canopy of quite a few of the indigenous trees that have been left and are then used as a means of shading the plants underneath. Then you do have kind of an upper canopy of Brachystegia, looks like Speciformis and Jewel Bernardia, with Combretum and Erythrofluum also kind of dotted in as well, and Albizia. So you actually have quite a nice mixture of indigenous tree developing canopy. I say developing canopy because these trees, you know, they're smaller. I'm not going to say that they're young, they're smaller, and are slowly regrowing actually. By the look of it, after some period there would have been some level of clearance around here. But having the garden plants then kind of interspersed underneath the indigenous trees has a kind of nice, kind of calming kind of feel to the area, rather than just walking under shade cloth, which is much more of a normal way of doing a nursery here in Zambia. It gives us kind of areas of slightly higher light levels, slightly lower light levels, and a loveliness to the kind of movement of the trees, casting more shadow here and there, just giving it more of an open and free space, which is quite lovely. With the changing of the levels of shade during the course of the year, as say the trees lose their leaves, you'll have a greater or a better kind of hardening off of these plants, getting used to higher light levels at certain times of year, lower light levels at other times of year. Whereas if you have shade cloth over it all the time, then they're used to that level only. Whereas here, where there's kind of a bit of an ebb and flow, as leaves drop or as the canopy opens up, when they are leafless, as the strychnos is here, it's just starting to leaf out, those plants that are underneath it are going to have a slightly higher level of light exposure now. And if you were then to buy from here and bring it into a garden that has slightly higher light levels, it's not going to burn to the same extent than if it was completely shaded with shade cloth, and then you bring it into a much brighter location where that plant might experience some level of shock and drop its leaves before growing out a new set. So, you know, growing underneath natural canopy usually is better for a plant than growing strictly underneath shade cloth. But the wind through the trees, the kind of blowing of it, creates actually quite a nice, relaxing atmosphere underneath here.